Oh, I love Mr. Rogers. I feel like we could use a pep talk from Mr. Rogers right now. So today I wanted to check out something that has always been a part of pop culture references on things. It's called Mr. Rogers, and it's something that it's always been in movies and TVs, and there's always been references to it, but I didn't grow up with Mr. Rogers in Ireland, never heard of it. So today I wanted to check it out. I came across it recently when I was looking up Netflix, and I realised Tom Hanks is in a film based on Mr. Rogers' life, and given that Tom Hanks is probably the greatest living human being in the world right now.
Everyone loves Tom Hanks and Beyonce!
Okay, minor exaggeration, but am I wrong in saying most people like Tom Hanks? I kind of wanted to watch the movie, but then it seemed counterproductive given that I don't really know who Mr. Rogers is. Here's everything I know about Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers is a children's entertainer, and American people feel a great deal of nostalgia about him. My image of Mr. Rogers has always been that he's like a 70-year-old man, but I'm curious to see if he started out younger, so let's do that today. Before we get into the video, do be sure to subscribe, otherwise the next time you go to find a nostalgia thing, it'll turn out to be Mandela effect, and it never existed at all. Oh, that was a weird noise. Let's do this. What am I expecting? I'm expecting some very wholesome content. The only American kid stuff I can relate to is probably like The Muppets and Sesame Street. I grew up watching reruns of those, so yeah. I didn't remember it being black and white. Hi! Oh, it's an actual house.
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood, a beautiful
He sings.
day for a neighbor.
Cool.
Would you be mine?
In a trench coat.
Would you be mine? It's a neighborly day in this beauty wood, a neighborly day for a beauty. Would you be mine?
He's very
Would
young.
you be mine? I have always wanted
What
to
a nice
have a
song.
neighbor just like you. I've always wanted to live in a neighborhood with
Neighborhood.
you. So let's make the most of this beautiful
Neighborhood.
day. Since we're together, we might as well say, would you be
He's
mine?
there. I like
Would
him.
you
He
be
seems
mine?
really.
Won't you be
He's
my
very
neighbor?
likable, isn't he?
Won't you please? Won't you please? Please won't you be?
He's just a man. Like, that's interesting.
Hi. Glad to see you today. I shall button my
Right down the
buttons
lens.
on
It's
the
like
sweater.
the original
Change my
YouTube.
shoes. What about growing? You like to grow, don't you?
Sort of.
That's
Not
sort
out.
of like going up and feeling different inside.
I like you as you are, this one's
Well,
called.
however you feel about it, I like you exactly as you are. I like you as you are. Exactly and precisely.
More singing.
I think you turned out nicely.
Thanks.
And I like you as you are.
Oh, it's good for my
I
self-esteem.
like you as you are.
It's so
Without
relaxing and
a doubt
chill.
or question.
I wonder what the
I
target
like
age group
your
was for this. I would watch this now.
Your facial composition.
It doesn't seem like it's for
and with
baby
your
babies.
kind permission, I'll shout it to us. L-I-K-E-Y-O.
Like you. Like
I
you.
like you, yes I do.
Learning. I guess it's pretty good for kids' self-esteem and grown-ups. I think we could all do with a show like that right now, probably.
There's the railroad tank.
Mr. Rogers shows how to make crayons. Oh wow!
And from the tank,
We had Bosco who
it's
went through the
poured
magic
into
door,
a kind of big kettle.
and he'd show us things in the outside world. It was always the same. It was
This is
always
a
the
kind of
same.
powder that makes the wax hard. Handfuls of yellow crayons.
I
All
literally
in color.
watch stuff like this all the time. All the time.
And then people
It
take
puts me to
those
sleep.
boxes
I
to
watch
the store
machinery things
where other
to
people
fall
come
asleep.
to buy them.
And pimple popping.
Oh, excuse me, mister.
Yay!
I'm going to have a little
It's my
race here. Would you mind
hero!
helping me in being
I
the judge?
love Big Bird.
See, what we're going to do is we're going to have a
Crossover!
race
This
here,
must have been
and
so
you're gonna be the judge
exciting for
me.
kids.
I'm waiting for someone to come for me, and when he comes, I'll have to leave.
Oh, well, that's okay, because this won't take long, see? Mr. Snuffleupagus and I
Snuffleupagus.
are going to race all the way
I
around.
wonder did I watch this
And
as a
then we're
kid,
gonna
because
come
I'm
back
pretty sure I saw
here
like
to the finish
all
line,
the Sesame
and you
Streets.
decide who gets here first.
You won.
Oh,
But I would have just
won,
watched this
I
and thought,
won.
random man.
Isn't that exciting? I won. Boy, I am so proud.
Of course you are.
Oh, no. Oh, I just realized something. Oh, I shouldn't be happy or proud.
Why not?
Well, I won, But my friend Mr.
I know.
Snuffleupagus lost. Why, he's gonna be sad he didn't win.
It's part of
He
life,
might
Big
even be
Bird.
angry because
It's
I
part of life.
beat him.
You have to learn that. Learn to lose.
How he might be sad or angry. He might be afraid that his friends wouldn't like him anymore.
Oh, his friends wouldn't like him anymore?
He might think that none of his friends
Big
would
Bird
like
was like a big kid, but I'm getting Mr. Rogers doesn't go down to that. He's still an adult, but able to talk to kids. Let's try Mr. Rogers on divorce. There's actually a lot of very serious topics on here. There's Mr. Rogers on violence, Mr. Rogers on... I don't know if I'm even allowed to say that word. Mr. Rogers on race relations. Very serious topics here. So let's try Mr. Rogers on divorce.
Have you always been happy?
Oh, nobody's happy all the time, but Betsy and I have had a big share of happiness.
Well, some people get married, and after a while, they're so unhappy with each other that they don't want to be married anymore.
Well, I know, and sometimes...
Not in Ireland. You couldn't divorce in Ireland. Not until, like, quite recently. And you had to be separated for 4 years. Divorce was not an option in Ireland around this time, I
He left
believe.
so fast. As soon as we started talking about divorce, I guess that's something he doesn't like to talk about.
We had one kid in my class in primary school who had divorced parents. It was very different.
Did you ever know any grown-ups who got married and then later they got a divorce?
Why?
Well, it is something that people can talk about, and it's something important.
But 2 Christmases.
I know a little girl and a little boy whose mother and father got a divorce, and those children cried and cried. You know why? Well, one reason was that they thought it was all their fault, but of course it wasn't their fault. Things like weddings and having babies and buying houses and cars are all grown-up things.
That's true, Mr. Rogers. Preach. I can imagine that would have been very helpful for children growing up to get it broken down for them on that level. Not so relevant to Irish kids until recently, really. Yeah.
Hey, Jeff. I'm glad to see you.
Hi.
Thank you very much for coming by. I asked Jeff, this is my friend Jeff Erlinger. He's one of my neighbors here, and I asked him if he would come by today because I wanted you to meet him, and I wanted you to see his electric wheelchair. We'd been talking about electric cars and all kinds of things we've been thinking about this week.
This is cool.
Would you
Just
show
kind of
me
normalizing
how
everything.
you make your chair go?
Okay, sure.
Can you tell my friends what it is that made you need this wheelchair?
Sure. Well, when I was about 7 months old, I had a tumor, and it broke the nerves to tell my hands and legs what to do.
I see.
Welcome, Jeffrey Erlinger.
Oh my gosh! They stayed friends.
I'm so glad you know, when you tell people that it's you I like, you know that you really mean it. And tonight, I want to let you know that on behalf of millions of children and grown-ups, it is you.
I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. If you've been watching this channel for a long time, you'll know I'm easily emotive, so I'm not gonna cry today. I've decided.
Moonwalking.
Oh God, this reminds me of me
Alright, put your
trying
foot
to
like
do
this.
anything.
Then you push back. Then you push
See,
back.
at least he's trying a new
Got it?
thing, and I think that's commendable.
It's hard. How do you
He's
say
gonna meet
love?
Coco the talking, the signing.
How do you say love?
Oh my God. I'm obsessed with Coco. Go down a Coco wormhole on YouTube after this. Don't turn off this video, but after this, go check out Coco. You met Robin Williams and everything.
My grandfather gave me those.
It looks like a flower.
Does look like a
Can we
flower.
talk a little bit about
So
love?
intelligent.
Brown? Oh, honey. What? Love? Love. You.
Oh,
He
is
said
that?
no.
Oh,
Love your visit, love. Well,
oh,
that was very nice.
thank you, Coco.
She loves her visitor.
Coco likes good people. Oh, I'm getting misty again. Ooh. Oh no. Oh no, I can't handle this. Fred Rogers' last TV appearance. I'm crying already. We can do this, we can do this. Not going to cry. Probably going to cry. Not going to cry.
You know, it happens so often. I walk down the street and someone 20 or 30 or 40 years old will come up to me and say, "You are Mr. Rogers, aren't you?" And then they tell me about growing up with the neighborhood and how they're passing on to the children they know what they found to be important in our television work. Like expressing their feelings through music and art and dance and sports and drama and computers and writing, and invariably we end our little time together with a hug. I'm just so proud of all of you who have grown up with us, and I know how tough it is some days to look with hope and confidence on the months and years ahead. But I would like to tell you what I often told you when you were much younger. I like you just the way you are. And what's more, I'm so grateful to you for helping the children in your life to know that you'll do everything you can to keep them safe and to help them express their feelings in ways that will bring healing in many different neighborhoods. It's such a good feeling to know that we're lifelong friends.
Oh, I didn't even grow up with him. Oh, so much for not crying. Why am I such an emotional person? We didn't have something specifically like Mr. Rogers growing up in Ireland. That's an amazing resource if you had that growing up. I don't think there's been anything like that before or since. There's probably been attempts at it. I worked recently as a kids TV presenter, and my biggest thing about taking it on was that I didn't want to talk down to the kids, and I didn't want to talk in a kidsy voice. I just wanted to present as myself. He did that too, and that's pretty cool. Today's video goes out to the squad over on Patreon. The squad are the backbone of the channel. These are their names. I've had a lot of trolling this month and they've been there for me, so thank you to each and every one of you. And that's it for today. Bye. I'm not playing you everything I'm gonna watch. This video is edited. No, that was really cool. We didn't have... No, stop crying. For a beautiful day in the neighborhood. I've put Martin the MacBook as far back as I possibly can, so you can't hear the humming of his fan. My carefully applied smoky shadow. Oh. You abandoned me when I got too emotional.